I was going to start this video off with a funny skit, but seeing as how the ATF is running around ruining people's lives and livelihood over gray area items, I had better go ahead and define exactly the legalities of this thing. Now, this right here, first and foremost, is a Form 1 can that I have successfully gotten my tax stamp back on. The serial number is 4U2PN2. I have not tried that yet, but it may be on the list of possibilities. It is threaded onto a Ruger SP101. That is an 8-shot 22 long rifle. This device that is clamped to the outside of it is from a company called Revolver Seal. Revolver Seal holds a U.S. patent on this. This is simply a safety device. This is not an NFA item. As a matter of fact, and shortly I will show you that all we are doing is maintaining the safety of this firearm by not allowing any materials and or gases to escape from the cylinder and the forcing cone as we put this little whisper pickle right here on the end of it. So, simply enough, this does not offer any suppression in its own. Everything is done at the muzzle. Now, a couple of years ago, I did an April Fool's joke about a suppressed 500 Magnum. When I unveiled this thing on Instagram, if you're not following me on Instagram, you need to be. Those guys have already been seeing this thing for a week. When I unveiled this thing on Instagram, the first comment that I got was, "I can't forget the April Fool's joke that you put on us a couple of years ago." Well, here you go. This is proof of life. Oh, really? Huh? What is that? Hit a tree? Dude, this is cool. You hear the bullet falling. All right. I was talking to a buddy of mine about this project, and he said, you know what would be freaking hilarious? If they made a video game character of you walking around with that big revolver. He's got 8 tries to get you, but you have even fewer tries to escape. And boom. Now that we've established that this isn't an April Fool's joke, here it is. This is the Revolver Seal. I've probably already got 47 comments about how big this clamp is. Well, everything you've ever used has had a first version. This is the prototype. So the designer of Revolver Seal is making a smaller clamping system. And actually, later in the video, I do mess with a smaller clamping system of my own. So let's go ahead and take this right here off. For testing, I've been using the JK Armament 105 LT. I've got several videos on this. Currently got it in a pill bottle form, just 2 baffles. So all this is my serialized blast chamber and 2 cups with the end cap. That's all I'm using. Of course, that being half 28, that's what we've done here. This is a half 28 threaded muzzle. When they did the work, they kind of had to leave the front sight off of it, this just being a test pig. That front sight could be easily put back on there. What I would wind up doing, now that I've spent quite a bit more time with it, what I would wind up doing is putting an optics plate on here with a small red dot. I think that would work out really cool. You want to talk about some space cowboy looking stuff there. So now that we've got the clamp off of here, this is what the Revolver Seal is. And it's actually a little bit more complicated than it looks. You can see I marked them left and right there so that for ease, when I was removing and reinstalling, I can tell which side is which. Now, one thing you will have to note is basically, to the eye, you would think that they are just flat pieces. They are not. This is going to have to be made to every specific frame, because not every specific frame is nice and flat and smooth. Matter of fact, when I got this, it was coated in a dull gray Krylon because the 3D scanner that they had to put this in to make the program to CNC machine this, it doesn't like shiny surfaces. So what I wound up doing was I told him, I said, I'm going to hit it with paint thinner, knock that Krylon off of it. You can still see a little evidence of it in the cracks and things there. He said, that's fine, because I just had to bring this thing back out to that nice Ruger finish. Of course, this is a Ruger SP101. They're adding more and different models on the website. Of course, we'll talk about that here in a little bit. If you do go to the website, use code PAT. That's the only way I make anything off of this video. So here we are, minus the revolver seal. I know some of you guys have already typed in the comment section before we even get to this point. You're going to say, but, Nagant. Yes, the Nagant. The cylinder would push forward onto the forcing cone and use special brass. The special brass sealed up against the forcing cone. That's where your modern revolvers don't quite work. So of course, here we are, minus the revolver seal, plus the can. That was loud, right? So this freeze frame shows exactly what the revolver seal does. If you'll look, you can see gray gases escaping from between the cylinder and the forcing cone. So, here goes a regular old unsuppressed semi. Of course, it jammed. I have no clue why it wanted to. There we go. So simply enough, without the revolver seal, there is no difference, even though we have the can on the end of this. So now let's listen to what it sounds like with the revolver seal, minus the can. So not today, Fed boys. The revolver seal is installed. Does not offer any suppression on its own. Is not an NA Fade device. So boom, we have proven this thing offers zero level of suppression unless we have the can on here. So now, where would this thing shine? I don't know, I'm sitting here looking at this thing. I'm thinking this is the perfect wet work. You think about this, an assassin with something like this? Let's streamline this thing and let's prove that since we're not dropping brass, we're quiet and we're concealable, this thing would just be the perfect wet work piece. So I do all my own HVAC work and I wind up with these really large zip ties. I'm curious if I couldn't just strap one of these zip ties around that revolver seal, considering it is a prototype and all, if I could just make something that would just be so sleek, so concealable, so perfect for an assassin. Of course, a proper assassin would have the appropriate shoulder holster. But check this out. We have eliminated the bracket. Does this work? Yes, it freaking works. Dude, this is great. Check this out. Single action. Woohoo! Ah, dude. Right here, that big old zip tie, that works. So we have expended all of our cartridges. How do we reload this? Well, simply enough, it's just like any other revolver with a couple of extra steps. We go ahead and put our 8 rounds in here. Now there is a topic of conversation that I would like to bring up. I had a buddy that was going through big trouble to purchase subsonic 22 long rifle ammunition. When I explained to him that simply enough, if he could find CCI's standard velocity, it doesn't have to be labeled as being subsonic. So don't go through a big bunch of hassle to try to get subsonic ammunition. Of course, the reason that we're using subsonic ammunition is simply enough, we don't want the crack of the bullet as it exits the suppressor. And also, this being the prototype, the first version of this, it's not going to clamp as well as you would think. So basically, we are trying to limit our pressure on this as it sits. So now, you are wondering, can we shoot this thing again? You daggum right, we can. 4 rounds up close. 4 rounds from a distance. Just for reference, this is just nothing but hammer. Dude, this thing's freaking quiet. Now, I've played with this thing over the course of several days. You can probably tell by how many outfit changes I've made in this video. I've even had a haircut and a beard trim. But now, as long as things like this find me, I will never get bored of guns. This right here has been a lot of fun. Of course, this one being a prototype, I can't stress that enough. He is working on a slimmer clamping system. So this big thingy can go away, which it's actually kind of neat. You know, you can use it as a foregrip and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, seeing that go away and making this whole process sleeker, a little bit easier to load, will definitely be cool. Now, also, something I do need to mention, when you go to their website, they have a pre-order form. This being February of 2022, these things are currently being pre-ordered. If you find the video in the future, he may have everything streamlined and set up and ready to go. But now, put code PAT in there. I absolutely need you to put code PAT in there. I'm not getting paid for this video. I do get a small commission off of all future sales. So if you want to support the channel, put code PAT in the instructions there. But now, with this being the prototype, I have tried to keep all of my ammo pressure limited. So everything has been subsonic and lower. You know, that usually is what you're trying to do when you're trying to maximize how quiet something is. You like to use subsonic ammunition as long as you're not using, let's say that you're hunting an animal that requires supersonic, and then at that point you're not trying to be truly quiet. You're just knocking the boom off. But now for this, I just wanted this to be really quiet. So I've kept everything standard velocity and below, so 1,000 feet per second and below. And I've even used some CCI quiets. Those CCI quiets are ultra quiet. Now, as for running this thing in the pill bottle configuration, you know, I can take this JK Armament 105 LT and I can go all the way out to 9 baffles, right? Well, what I've been choosing to do is I've noticed that 2 keeps it really quiet. And also, with this being the prototype, you know, this being the first one, he's just got a prototype sealing system, the prototype clamp and all of that. Part of my engineering behind that, being able to reduce how much back pressure I have, I can actually throw a little bit more pressure out the muzzle, still get suppression, and not have to fight keeping this sealed up against the pistol itself. Like I said, later versions will be more refined, and we may be able to push higher velocity stuff, but as for right now, like I said, I've limited the length of my can in order to limit the amount of pressure that I'm making here. So this right here with the 2, all I've got is a blast chamber and 2 baffles, has been great, nice and quiet. Of course, I'm using subsonic ammunition. I would love to get my hands on later one of the real production pieces and maybe try to crank up some of the pressures and see how that would work. Of course, we could start adding more baffle stack and all of that, but you can hear this thing's really quiet. My microphone, when I shoot, does not attenuate the sound, so it's a genuinely quiet piece. I wish I had some sound metering equipment. I would say in this, we're definitely below 130 dB. This is just as quiet as like my 22 bolt gun. See, I'll run on my 16-inch bolt gun, I'll run 6 baffles on it with standard velocity ammunition, and it is really quiet. But here in this pill bottle form, this little tiny thing, it is definitely impressive. I'm definitely liking this. I'm glad that Bryce from Revolver Seal picked me to be the first content creator to have this thing. It's been a great pleasure. So now if you do go pre-order one of these, make sure you use code PAT. That's the only way I'm catching any commission off of this. Also, if you will, check out my Linktree links down below. I have affiliate links down there. While you're getting your gear, I catch a small portion of the sale, and it literally costs you nothing that you aren't already spending. It's a really easy way to support the channel. So definitely remember to hit those down below. But anyway, hope you guys have a wonderful day. We'll see you next video. Revolver Seal on. I love you. Now it's time for another Gun Chicken Reviews. Got the Ruger SP101 equipped with the Revolver Seal and my JK Armament 105 LT. What do you think about it, baby girl? Oh, she freaking likes it. Dude, I haven't seen her that interested in something in a minute.